I don't know how to control the volume here. All right, let's set the location. Join your palms in front of the chest. Close the eyes. Allow the legs to descend, but lift the front of the spine up. Roll the upper arms inside out and widen the collarbones. Descend the shoulder blades from top to bottom. A smooth, soft inhalation, smooth, soft exhalation. Silently utter Om with each exhalation. And we'll begin. Yogena chittasya padena vacha. Yogena chittasya padena vacha. Malam sharirasya chavayakena. Malam sharirasya chavayakena. Yoga karotam bravaram muninam. Yoga karotam bravaram muninam. Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. Abahu purushakaram. Abahu purushakaram. Shankha chakra siddharinam. Shankha chakra siddharinam. Sahasra shirsam shvetam. Sahasra shirsam shvetam. Pranamami Patanjalim. Pranamami Patanjalim. Hari Om. Hari Om. Raise the chest up with your exhalation, bow the head to the heart. Bring the hands to the legs. Gradually lift the head in. All right. Come on, Rima. So last night we talked about Sutra 228, about the yoga anga anushka nada shuddhikshaya jnana vita aviveka. And we said that the 8 limbs of yoga do 2 things. Do you remember, anybody remember what this purpose of these 8 limbs is?
Devoted practice.
Yes. What are we practicing for? What are we trying to gain? What's the purpose?
Salvation.
Okay, but in what way? To what?
I thought it was so that we could be able to recognize the difference between the
Chitta vritti, the
chitta
false,
and the true self.
Okay, so what is that called when you have that knowledge, that ultimate knowledge? Viveka Kyati. Viveka Kyati. When you have that ultimate knowledge, you know you are eternal, eternal being. You know that the ego self is the false self, and so you don't get troubled by temporary setbacks. So that's Viveka Kyati, and the practice of the 8 limbs does something in order to get that knowledge. We talked about the kleshas and the shadrikus, the kleshas and the afflictions, impurities. Impurities. Ashudhik. So we're getting ashuddhi means impurity of the mind, of the body, and kshaya is to destroy. So the practice of the 8 limbs destroys the impurities and leads toward this crowning of ultimate wisdom. Okay, so now let's just talk about the impurities. So in the Yoga Sutras, they talk about raga. Let's see. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. So avidya, do you remember what that is? Ignorance, spiritual ignorance. You don't know the true self. And then asmita is egoism. And then raga, do you remember that?
anger,
No, that's a different list. Attachment. You have to have things your way, or you want things. Yeah, you have to have things your way. And then what's the opposite of attachment?
attachment, aversion.
Aversion. Yeah, and aversion leads to hatred and violence. So we want to avoid that. And then the last affliction that even the wise people have, every creature has it.
Fear of death.
Yeah, fear of death and clinging to life. So that's called abhinivesha. And that's in Sutra 2.3. Okay, then we talked about the 6 enemies, or shadrikus, which are another source of impurities. And these come from many different texts in the Vedic tradition, but they're not specifically listed. It's just assumed that you know what they are. And can you remember any of these 6 enemies? Lust. Okay, kama.
Hatred.
Anger. Yeah.
Envy.
Greed, envy.
Jealousy.
Same as envy. Yep.
Attachment. Oh,
No. So delusion.
delusion.
Yeah. Infatuation or delusion, and then pride. So ego, you could call it pride, is there too. Now, different texts will list different problems, and Prashant Iyengar was, in one of his lectures says that in one of the texts, it lists 10 yamas and 10 niyamas. But the 5 that Patanjali lists of the 5 yamas and niyamas are all included in those lists. All right, so these are the impurities that keep us in bondage or suffering. And so we want to use our practice in order to burn these impurities so that we break through the illusions and see the true self. And we can distinguish between that which is harmful and that which is not harmful, that which is painful versus that which is pleasurable, that which is temporary versus what is eternal. Okay, so now, any other questions or any thoughts that came up about that from last night? Do you know, can you recall what the 8 limbs are? Yama, okay. Niyama, what's the next one?
Asanas.
And then
Dharana, dhyana.
pranayama. Then it's a more inward path. So pranayama is the gateway to inward. Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses toward the source. Dharana, concentration. Dhyana, meditation, samadhi. Okay, complete absorption. So just so you know, Rima, these are coming from the philosophy, one of the main philosophical texts is Light on Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So Patanjali is the one that we do the invocation to because he was the one who gave us these aphorisms on yoga, the practice of yoga, what it does for us, what the obstacles are, what happens when we reach the pinnacle, and the limbs, the 8 limbs. Okay, so no questions, no, nothing. All right. Okay, then today we're going to do forward extensions. So otherwise known as forward bends, but we try to say forward extensions because in both forward bends and backward bends, the spine has to extend. So it's extensions. It's not really, this is bending, this is flexion. Okay, so what I want you to do is to look at your list of forward extensions. And if you don't have it, share with somebody else. And then I'm going to clear the board. And so if you look at poses like Paschimottanasana and in that group, then I want you to think about other asanas, standing asanas, for example, that will help us.
It's in that one too, or no?
It's sort of mixed, this list.
I have the blue one, I have.
They're mostly in there. But
Okay, so did you find the forward extensions? All right, so let's list those. What are the forward extensions? Okay. What else? Janu Shirshasana. Okay, what else? Of course. What else? Okay, and anything else? What?
Ashwa.
Right, okay. Anything else? Of course. Paschimottanasana. Okay,
Malasana.
anything else? Okay, for that list, that's it, okay. So which of these are problematical? Problematical for any of you, okay,
Hamstrings.
okay,
Marichasana,
all right.
Triyamukhi.
Do you know what this one is?
Yes, the one leg is back and one is front. And
Yeah, one leg is in Virasana, one leg is
Yeah.
in Dandasana, you're going forward. What about this one? Janusharsana.
that is also for me.
I think Janusharsana is very difficult.
It is.
Okay, so, what sorts of actions, this is probably the easiest one, right? Janusharsana, unless you have a knee problem, right, then you have to prop it up. And Paschimottanasana, right, I guess, we already said that, all right, so this one,
I also struggle with
okay, so they're all hard, okay, so what, let's say that we wanna work on, Paschimottanasana, what do we need to, what standing poses would relate to that?
Uttanasana.
Okay. For sure. What other asanas? Parshvottanasana? Explain how,
lengthening the hamstring,
okay?
abdomen to
And
thigh
like
on
you're
one
doing
side.
this, you're, like we did yesterday, we are, pulling the femurs into the hips, so the outer, to the outer thighs.
Yes. And
So
moving them
that-
inward.
And then also rolling the, legs.
The front leg rolls in,
Yeah.
back leg rolls in as well. Yes, and right, okay, so the rolling of the thighs is the same as for forward extensions. The lengthening of the hamstring, the pulling the femur into the hip socket, cutting the outer leg in, yes, no doubt. In fact, the front leg, you're in a kind of, uttanasana, kind of like Paschimottanasana. So clear, all right. Anything else? Can't see this. Dandasana, okay. What do we learn in Dandasana? Or what do we practice?
The same leg actions which you showed us yesterday.
Okay.
And the lifting of the front before you go. So
Yep.
the extension of the spine.
Right, so lifting the spine off of the pelvis, creating that length, pressing the legs down. Right, leg actions, right? Leg actions, spinal actions. Concavity. If we wanna do Marichasana going forward, so one leg is gonna be bent like this, and you're holding like this. So what's gonna help with that? Padangustasana, so. That's, all right, yep. So, show us Padangustasana.
I'm holding the toe.
Okay, yeah, she's holding her big toe, you can't see it, but yes, that's right. So that's another one that teaches a concavity of the spine, links the hamstrings, teaches leg actions. What about for this one?
Are you Paschimottanasana or are you?
Parshva Upavishta Konasana. Parshva Upavishta Konasana.
Well, then you're getting into groin lifting.
Definitely.
So,
But
Virabhadrasana 2, I was thinking Virabhadrasana 1.
Okay, tell me about Virabhadrasana 1.
Well, you're
having to stretch inside the thighs and have the concaveness.
That's true. That is true. Okay. Wouldn't be my first choice, but you can actually use a back bend practice as a preparation for a forward bend practice because it trains you for the concave spine. Okay, so I'll put that there. I'm gonna put it in parentheses because it's not as direct. Okay, because actually, this is, what do we call this anatomically when the leg is behind the hip? Yeah, this is hip extension, and in forward extensions, this is called hip flexion. So it's gonna be a different and opposite thing. So I'm gonna say this for the upper trunk, not for the legs. Okay, now, malasana, what could be a problem there?
The heels not touching.
Yes, and why don't the heels touch the floor? Calves, okay, so how do we lengthen the calves? What? Adho Mukha what? Downward facing?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, okay, yes. So, yes, so Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, so that will help with malasana because it's a calf stretch, right? What about Parshva Upavishta Konasana? So that's this.
Supta Padangusthasana too. Baddha Konasana.
Standing pose. Think standing. Yes. So it's not wrong, Brenna? But if you think about it, this really relates directly to Upavishta Konasana, right? Yeah, same, similar thing. And then, if I'm gonna go this way, right, I'm bending forward over one leg, that relates to Parshva Konasana. Does that make sense? I'm turning away from one leg and going toward the other. So Parshva Konasana.
So Upavishta Konasana is considered a
Seated pose. Right, but,
even though you go.
well, she's now calling it Adho Mukha, Upavishta Konasana.
Okay, Upavishta.
This is
Konasana
upright.
upright.
Yeah, that's why that's a seated pose, but this is a forward extent. Okay. All right, so calves, okay, Adho Mukha Svanasana, all right. Okay,
Virabhadrasana 1 can also
lengthen the calf. Yes, it can, okay. All right. So now let's put these into an order. Starting with standing poses. Well, did we forget anything?
Seems like you might want to do Trikonasana, put a Trikonasana in there.
Good, yeah. Certainly relates to Parshva, well, it does relate to Parshva Upavishta Konasana, not directly, but is there any other standing asana on the list?
Ujita Hasta.
Yes.
Virabhadrasana.
Tita,
1 and 2.
Yeah.
actually, if we're trying to get the
Right.
Russian Uttanasana as well.
Tita Hasta Padangusthasana 1 and 2. Sorry, you're not gonna be able to see the board and the board. Okay. Let's talk about putting these in order. Is anybody on the menstrual cycle today? Okay. You've done it, yeah, okay. Where should we start? Okay, so we're gonna have this be the first ball. Then what? Okay, we're here. Or should we go from here?
I don't know, Krishna.
Why not?
Yeah. And then Uttanasana,
Okay.
and you can cycle through that.
Okay, yeah, all right. So let's say. Uttanasana, okay, and we can repeat that a few times, then what? So. Trikonasana, okay. What next? Okay. We wanna do that, okay, then what? Does everybody agree with that? Is that okay?
Oh, we forgot Padangusthasana.
Okay, but you don't have to do all of this, you know, you can break it up. You can do Uttanasana, you know, number 3, numbers 8, number 12, you can repeat it through. So let's not put Uttanasana right by Padangusthasana. Yes, we need to do this one. So, okay, let's do it like that.
And
Now,
then
how are we gonna do Parsvasana? With the hands down, or are we gonna do it with the hands forward, or the arms behind the back in the classical pose? What do you think? Hands down, okay, all right. Is there any reason to do it with the arms behind the back?
Open the
chest,
Yes, it
yeah,
opens the chest, and how does that relate to
it extends the spine.
the front of the spine?
Yeah.
The front of the spine
Yeah.
extends.
Yes.
Right, and so what part of Paschimottanasana does that relate to, let's say?
Chest.
Yeah, the concave action.
Oh,
The concave action, right? So when you put the arms in Paschimottanasana, you're getting a concave action, aren't you? Okay, and that's the first stage of a forward bend. Okay, so we might want to do it both ways. All right. Okay, what should we do next? Virabhadrasana 1. Okay, where are we? 7. Okay, and what's after that?
Sorry.
Now, I'll just give you a hint. So Virabhadrasana 1 is a heating pose. So you need to take a little, do something. Yeah, we could do Padangusthasana after that. Now what? Okay, and then which?
If we're putting headstand, I would put it in right now.
Okay, so 10 would be Shirshasana. Okay, and then what?
Sorry, I'm curious, why would you do a headstand there? Not questioning.
Where would you put it?
No, I'm not questioning her reasoning, I'm literally just
It's
going.
good to know that she has after this with the Bharatanasan because we start very,
What is the preparation for headstand?
your hands and your head.
You have to be in, so
okay.
Uttanasana,
Yeah.
Prasarita Padangusthasana, anything where the
Okay.
trunk is down is the preparation for headstand. That's why. So for instance, you wouldn't do Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana and go right to headstand.
Okay.
You wouldn't do, usually not Trikonasana and then go to headstand. Okay. Are we, okay, then Dandasana. Yeah, okay. All right. And we can mix these up almost in any way. The thing is, Malasana really helps with Uttanasana. Yeah, so you could put this, like two, after two, so like this would be like,
To be.
yeah, 2B. And then we have 3, so this would be A. Actually, this would be 3A, and this would be 3B, because these sort of go together. Okay, so, then the forward bends can actually be placed before shoulder stand or after. So why don't we do Shirshasana and then Sarvangasana, like this. And then the forward extension.
Where does that place Dandasana?
That would put Dandasana in 12.
Oh.
Then we start with the forward bends. And then 13 plus is other forward seated, forward extensions.
Do you want to prepare the shoulders for Sarvangasana?
Well, we could, I mean, that can happen in Paschimottanasana Namaskar, but it's quite a distance, isn't it?
Just maybe like Paschimottanasana or
Could,
Paschimottanasana.
could do that, could do that. Okay, does anybody have a good order now, or a neat writing, a neat, list?
Mine's not neat.
Okay.
Mine is not neat.
Yeah. What have you got? Okay, we'll go over it. All right, so Adho Mukha Virasana is what we said, 1. Adho Mukha Svanasana,
Malasana,
Malasana,
Uttanasana,
Uttanasana,
Trikonasana,
Trikonasana,
Udit Hastpadam
Uttanasana
Stanasana,
1 and 2,
Kashuttanasana,
Parsvanasana,
Veerbhadrasana,
Virasana 1,
Padam Stanasana,
Paradasana,
Prasarita Padas,
Padasana,
yeah, Sirsasana,
Shirshasana,
Paschime Badam Kundiyasana,
No, Sarvangasana.
Sarvangasana,
okay.
Dandasana, and then the other forward extension. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up and rewrite it. Now, how many of you were here the other weekend when we used the ropes on the groins and pulled them with the straps? You were, right? I'd really like to do that today.
Where would that fit?
Yeah, you weren't here for that session, right? Or were you?
I've done it before. Is it groups of
No,
3?
no, no.
Oh.
This, you were
I
not there. This is putting straps on your legs. You put a strap on your leg, you put a weight. So that would be for Prasarita Padasana. Okay, so the sequence that you guys ordered is not wrong. You can practice that at home. But if you want to practice it here, we're gonna have to cut some things out. Because if you want to learn this, this thing with the groins, the groin work, and I really want you to get the fun.
And it's just you? You don't need a partner?
We could do both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna write the sequence down so that you can practice it at home, and then I'm gonna change it a little bit. to teach you a technique that will change your groins. Adho Mukha Virasana. 2. Adho Mukha Svanasana. 3. We're going to do Uttanasana. Then we're going to do Malasana. What was next after Uttanasana, Malasana? What's number 5?
Trikonasana.
Okay. Trikonasana. Then what?
Utthita Hasta Padangustasana.
Utthita Hasta Padangustasana. One and 2. Then what?
Parshvottanasana.
Parshvottanasana. Then what?
Virabhadrasana 1.
Okay, now generally speaking in a sequence, because Parshvottanasana is cooling and Virabhadrasana 1 is heating, you put Parshvottanasana second. But so I'm going to recommend that.
So Vira first.
Yep, Vira 1. And then Parshvottanasana. Okay, then what? Padangustasana. Good. Because that's the principle of working with one leg forward, one leg back. So you before both legs in the same direction. Okay, then what? Prasarita. Then Shirshasana.
So this, number 10, we do with groups.
With what?
You said groups.
Yes. With straps or ropes. Okay, straps probably we'll use. Okay, Prasarita, and then what? Shirshasana? Sarvanasana. Then what? Forward to Dandasana. Asana, other forward extensions. Such as Janu, Shirshasana, Triana Mukha, Paschimottanasana, Marichyasana 1. Marichyasana 1. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, we forgot our, and then, okay, so we could do it like that, or it was Sarvanasana, wasn't it? Oh, it's Sarvanasana's here. Sarvanasana, okay. All right,
So we are not doing the Vishnu.
let's, we can. Parshva. Okay. And then maybe Uttanasana and Shavasana. So before you do Shavasana, you're supposed to do not a two-sided pose, not a bilateral pose, but something sentinel immediately before Shavasana. So sorry about all the different lists, but I think now this is a good sequence. Okay, now I want to give you, we're gonna work first on Prasarita Padottanasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're gonna start on the asanas first, so I'm not gonna give you this exact sequence, this is for your home practice, you understand? We might come back to this, but I'm going to start with some preliminary actions that are gonna get your groins ready, okay? All right, so take 5 minutes and use the bathroom.